Have you ever pondered how something as natural and personal as masturbation might change in meaning and in impact once you cross into your 70s? At this stage in life, many older men are rediscovering the importance of intimacy, comfort, and physical release. Masturbation is not only common but healthy when done correctly. It can relieve stress, help with sleep, improve circulation, and even support prostate health. Yet few seniors realize that certain habits related to self-pleasure may be quietly undermining their health, energy, and even longevity. Doctors are now sounding the alarm not to shame or frighten, but to educate, empower, and protect. As the body changes, so must the way we care for it, and that includes our most personal behaviors. Today, we'll uncover 5 critical masturbation mistakes that older men often make and explain why they may be silently doing more harm than good. Let's explore these truths together, not with judgment, but with wisdom and dignity. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Mistake 1, ignoring the body's new limits. As men age, their bodies undergo changes that are subtle but deeply important to recognize. After 70, the heart, blood vessels, nervous system, and even skin sensitivity respond differently than they did decades ago. Unfortunately, many older men continue to masturbate using the same intensity, speed, or pressure they grew used to in their younger years, unaware that this can now place significant strain on their body. Vigorous or rushed self-pleasure may not only be physically exhausting, but it can also lead to short-term symptoms like dizziness, rapid heartbeat, or muscle cramps. These reactions might seem harmless, but over time, repeated overexertion during masturbation can stress the cardiovascular system, especially in those with underlying conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, or diabetes. One overlooked aspect is how hard the pelvic floor muscles are working during climax. When overused or strained, these muscles can become tight and fatigued, which in turn leads to urinary difficulties, groin discomfort, or even incontinence in more severe cases. Doctors are urging older men to approach this part of their life with a deeper sense of self-respect and care. Masturbation should not feel like a test of performance, but rather a celebration of sensation. It's not about speed, strength, or intensity anymore. It's about relaxation, connection to your body, and supporting your well-being. Gentle touch, slower rhythm, and a calm environment can actually increase pleasure while protecting your body from harm. Deep breathing during self-stimulation, proper posture, and even taking breaks when needed can significantly reduce risk and enhance the experience. This stage of life offers a powerful opportunity to redefine pleasure. Listening to your body instead of fighting it is not a sign of weakness, it's wisdom. You're not less of a man because you slowed down. In fact, you may discover more depth, sensitivity, and satisfaction when you allow your body the space to feel fully and safely. The key is to avoid pushing yourself into discomfort just because that's how you used to do it. Your body is speaking. Respect what it says. And yet, the physical side is only one part of the equation. What about the emotional and mental aspects of this habit? The next mistake often goes unnoticed, but may be quietly rewiring your brain in ways that reduce joy, dull real-life intimacy, and even affect your memory. Let's talk about that next mistake too. Using pornography that overstimulates the brain. In today's digital age, pornography is more accessible, fast-paced, and stimulating than ever before. For younger men, the brain is still flexible enough to bounce back from frequent visual overload. But for older men, especially those over 70, this kind of overstimulation can silently begin to reshape how the brain responds to pleasure, intimacy, and arousal. Many seniors turn to internet pornography without realizing the unique risks it poses at this stage of life. The human brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, in response to sexual stimulation. But when that stimulation is repeated too, often through highly stimulating pornographic content, the brain adapts. It begins to demand more intensity for the same level of satisfaction, creating a cycle of diminishing returns. Over time, this can lead to a condition known as dopamine desensitization, where real-life experiences like intimacy with a partner, meaningful touch, or even casual conversation no longer produce the same emotional reward. What once felt fulfilling may begin to feel flat, dull, or disappointing. For older men, this can be particularly damaging, as natural hormone levels decrease with age. The brain's capacity to regulate emotional highs and lows becomes more delicate, flooding it with constant artificial sexual imagery can interfere with memory, focus, and mood. Some men even report increased anxiety or irritability after frequent pornography use, especially if it's being used to cope with feelings of loneliness, boredom, or sadness. What may feel like a private and harmless habit can, in reality, slowly erode emotional resilience and cognitive sharpness. Doctors and mental health experts recommend replacing overstimulating material with gentler alternatives, erotic literature, softer visual content, or simply reconnecting with imagination can provide stimulation without overloading the brain's reward system. This shift often leads to deeper, more meaningful self-exploration and reduces the mental exhaustion that can follow overstimulation. It's not about giving up pleasure. It's about reclaiming it in a way that enhances your overall health rather than draining it. There's also a powerful emotional layer to this mistake. Pornography, especially the kind designed for younger audiences, rarely reflects the realities or desires of older adults. This can create a disconnect between what a man sees and what he truly needs or wants, leading to feelings of inadequacy or frustration when the images on the screen don't match real life. It's easy to start believing that something is wrong with you rather than realizing the content simply isn't meant for your phase of life. Being selective and intentional with what you consume can dramatically improve how you feel about your body, your desires, and your ability to experience pleasure. The goal isn't just stimulation, it's satisfaction, peace, and connection with yourself on a deeper level. But stimulation isn't the only factor that matters. There's another often overlooked risk that starts deep inside the body, one that's especially common in older men, and when ignored, it can quietly lead to serious long-term damage. Let's turn our attention to that next. Mistake 3. Not considering prostate health. As men enter their 70s and beyond, one area of the body demands more attention than ever before: the prostate. This small gland, often overlooked in younger years, plays a vital role in reproductive and urinary health. Yet many older men continue their sexual routines, including masturbation, without adjusting for the changes happening in their prostate. This can lead to discomfort, inflammation, and in some cases, much more serious consequences. The prostate naturally enlarges with age, a condition known as benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH). This change can place pressure on the bladder, affect urinary flow, and lead to symptoms like urgency, difficulty starting urination, or even interrupted sleep due to frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom. But what many older men don't realize is that aggressive or improper masturbation habits, such as applying too much pressure, delaying ejaculation repeatedly, or rushing through the process, can further irritate the prostate and pelvic region. Over time, this can contribute to chronic pelvic pain, increased inflammation, and, in rare cases, may interfere with the early detection of more serious prostate conditions. Some men also mistakenly believe that holding an ejaculation or forcing it can somehow strengthen their stamina. In reality, this can create unnecessary tension in the pelvic floor muscles and surrounding nerves, placing added stress on the already sensitive area around the prostate. The result is not improved performance, but greater discomfort and longer recovery times afterward. This is especially risky for men already managing conditions like prostatitis or a history of urinary tract infections. Health professionals advise that older men approach masturbation with care, patience, and full awareness of how their body feels, not how they think it should respond. Gentle touch, adequate arousal time, and complete release without straining are essential. More importantly, if you experience persistent pelvic pain, changes in fluid, blood, and semen, or any disruption in your urinary habits, you should never ignore these signs. They may not be urgent today, but they could signal deeper issues developing quietly over time. Protecting your prostate means respecting it. Masturbation can still support prostate health by encouraging circulation and clearing out old fluid, but it must be done with a new mindset, one rooted in awareness, not just routine. Your body is not what it was at 30, but it is still strong, capable, and deserving of proper care. Yet, while physical harm is easier to detect, the emotional reasons why men continue certain habits often run even deeper. And the next mistake is one that can drain not just the body, but also the spirit if left unaddressed. Let's take a closer look at that now. Mistake 4. Masturbating out of loneliness or stress instead of connection. In the later stages of life, emotional well-being becomes just as important as physical health, if not more. For many older men, especially those living alone or dealing with the loss of a partner, masturbation can become more than a physical act. It can become a way to escape the quiet, to fill emotional gaps, or to cope with stress, grief, or feelings of isolation. While there is nothing wrong with finding comfort in your own body, there is a fine line between healthy self-care and using physical release to mask emotional wounds. When masturbation becomes a substitute for emotional connection, it often loses its purpose as a joyful, restorative experience. Instead, it may evolve into a habit driven by sadness, habit, or anxiety. Over time, this can dull the emotional reward and even lead to a kind of emotional numbness where the act becomes mechanical rather than meaningful. Some men report feeling even more alone or disconnected afterward, especially when it's used to avoid dealing with difficult emotions. This cycle can quietly deepen feelings of loneliness, making it harder to seek out real companionship, new friendships, or even light-hearted social engagement. The problem isn't the act itself, it's the motive behind it. When driven by boredom, frustration, or sadness, masturbation becomes less about pleasure and more about avoidance. The temporary comfort it brings fades quickly, often replaced by a lingering emptiness. This emotional fallout isn't talked about enough among older men, many of whom were raised in generations where emotional needs weren't openly discussed or acknowledged. But the truth is, emotional hunger cannot be truly satisfied by physical release alone. Doctors and therapists alike agree when you notice that you're turning to masturbation more out of habit or emotion than desire. It's a signal worth paying attention to. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I feel good or because I don't want to feel something else? That one question can open a door to deeper awareness. Sometimes, a simple change in routine like a walk outside, a phone call to a friend, or picking up a long-forgotten hobby can offer the connection your heart is really craving. The goal at this stage in life is not to avoid masturbation, it's to reclaim it as something affirming and healthy. Your emotional health matters, and so does your sense of connection, whether that's with others or simply with yourself. Don't let loneliness dictate your relationship with your own body. Pleasure, like love, should never feel like a substitute for what's missing. It should feel like something added to what's already whole. But while emotional motives are powerful, there's another challenge that creeps in silently and affects both the mind and body. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you expect, and how your performance worries may be quietly stealing your peace. Let's explore that next. Mistake 5. Ignoring erectile dysfunction or performance anxiety. As men age, changes in sexual function are common, but not always welcomed. Many men over 70 experience shifts in how their body responds. Erections may be less firm, slower to arrive, or shorter in duration. This is entirely normal. Yet far too many older men view these changes as signs of failure rather than simply the result of aging. In response, they begin using masturbation as a way to test their performance. Instead of enjoying the experience, they become focused on whether they can achieve or maintain an erection, whether they're taking too long, or if something is wrong with them. This mindset can quietly turn a healthy act into one driven by fear, self-judgment, and pressure. Performance anxiety doesn't only affect sexual satisfaction, it affects the entire nervous system. When a man begins to worry during masturbation, his body responds by releasing cortisol. The stress hormone, cortisol, and arousal are enemies. The more anxiety present, the harder it becomes for the body to relax and respond naturally. What starts as a minor concern can quickly become a recurring issue, creating a loop of frustration and disappointment that deepens over time. Many men don't realize that this cycle is not just psychological, it's deeply physical too. Ignoring erectile dysfunction or letting it silently dictate your emotional state is one of the most harmful patterns an older man can fall into. Instead of accepting changes and adapting with grace, many choose to suffer in silence, too ashamed or embarrassed to talk to their doctor or even acknowledge it to themselves. But the truth is, these changes are not a verdict on your masculinity. They're simply biology doing what it does. And the good news is, there are ways to support sexual health without falling into shame or stress. Reframing masturbation as an act of self-care rather than a performance test is key. It's not about how long or how hard, it's about how you feel. It's about reclaiming comfort in your own body without judgment. When this shift happens, the pressure lifts and the body often responds more freely. And when there are concerns that go beyond stress like persistent erectile difficulty or changes in sexual fluid, it's not weakness to seek help. In fact, it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your health, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Performance doesn't define a man. Presence does. Connection, comfort, and honesty with yourself are what matter most. As the years pass, your body might be aging, but your ability to feel, to experience joy, and to be at peace with who you are remains fully alive. Now that we've explored the 5 most common masturbation mistakes older men make, one important question remains. What practical steps can you take today to reclaim healthy, joyful, and safe sexual habits that truly support your well-being? Let's answer that next. Final thoughts. Sexual wisdom after 70. There comes a time in life when pleasure takes on a deeper meaning, not just physical, but emotional, even spiritual. After 70, it's not about performance or proving anything. It's about honoring the body that has carried you this far, listening to its wisdom, and embracing touch with care and intention. You've earned this freedom. You've earned peace. Masturbation, when guided by awareness and self-respect, can still be a beautiful part of your life, not rushed, not judged, just real, honest, and yours. Growing older doesn't mean letting go of intimacy. It means redefining it with grace. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms. Note: I preserved all original phrasing, including minor inconsistencies like unrest gives unaddressed for clarity, but otherwise made no changes to the text itself. Let me know if you'd like any refinements.